The story begins with a lady named Mani who had been at the police station for the past 2 years. Now, due to her good behavior, the police release her. Her sentence wasn't completely pardoned, but whatever remained of it would have to be served at home. Living like a prisoner, a tracking device is attached to her ankle, which would inform the police of her movements. Essentially, she couldn't take more than 100 steps within her home. If she went outside or attempted to escape from her house, the police would be alerted through this device. A police inspector comes to drop Mani at her home, keeping the key to the device with him and mentioning that they will be watching her at all times. Mani had, in fact, killed her husband, which is why she was given this punishment. The blood stains of her husband are still present on the walls of her house. Mani's husband was also a police officer, and the inspector named Senks, who came to drop Mani home, was his colleague. Therefore, he was also very regretful about his friend's death. However, Mani had not killed him intentionally. She hadn't intended to kill him. It was an accident while defending herself. But Shane didn't buy any tale about Mani killing him. He insisted his friend couldn't have done what she said. Now, Inspector Shane was set on finding the truth. Mani began tidying up. She aimed to gather her husband's clothes and put them in the basement. However, the basement was over 100 feet away. The device was special. It couldn't be turned off, nor could Mani remove it. Any tampering and the police would know right away. So, they threw the bag from a distance, causing it to open and all the contents to spill into the basement. After that, she first cleans the bloodstains from outside, where her husband had died. She tidies up her home, changes into her clothes after many days, and sleeps in her bed for the first time in a long while. One day, sitting by the window, she reflects that the old days can never return. She realizes society will never accept her simply because she killed her husband. She thinks about the friends who used to visit her before. Those who used to visit her home no longer think well of her. Everyone has started to hate her and is ignoring her. That night, strange incidents begin to happen with Mani. Sometimes, large candles near her would light or extinguish with the wind, and she would hear footsteps in her own house. When she goes to check, she finds a man outside who had been living in her basement for the past year. Anyway, he leaves, scared of Mani. The next morning in the daylight, nothing happens to Mani. She spends the day very well. Now she can't go out to get groceries. She couldn't go out to get the cooking supplies, so she ordered the kitchen items over the phone. Joey Kamich, a boy named Joey, comes to deliver the items and says that from now on, he will be the one to bring all the supplies to her. One night, she lights a lighter to run a secret, and suddenly a terrifying scar appears in front of her, which belongs to none other than her husband. Seeing it, she gets frightened and falls off the bed. She runs towards the door to go outside, but suddenly remembers that she is at her own home. She simply could not escape from that place. If she managed to do so, the authorities would detain her for a complete decade. At this moment, her husband's spirit was gradually drawing nearer to her. It seized her leg, prompting Mani to flee in terror, and she lost consciousness after collapsing for 20 minutes. After some time, Shank arrived, having discovered her location through the tracking device. When she regained consciousness and saw Shank standing before her, she refrained from telling him anything about what had transpired or how she ended up in that situation, as she could hardly believe it herself. It was at that moment that they noticed a bloodstain on the wall, which she had previously wiped away, but it had mysteriously reappeared. Mani found herself unable to sleep that night. She spent the entire night engulfed in fear, attempting to reassure herself that there are no such things as ghosts or spirits. From the following morning, peculiar paranormal occurrences commenced in her house. She began to feel as though someone else was residing in the house alongside her. She heard footsteps emanating from the upper part of her house. When she went to the kitchen to prepare coffee, she observed the utensils on the shelf trembling. The utensils fall over her. Mani manages to protect herself. However, after this incident, she became convinced that her husband's spirit was in the house, tormenting her. Mani bravely confronts it and says, "I am not going anywhere. This is my home too." A few days pass like this. Now, her husband's spirit started troubling her even during the day. Shang, who was sitting outside keeping an eye on Mani's house, had no idea what was actually happening inside. Amidst all this, Mani had a good friend, Joy, who used to bring things to her house. They developed a good friendship. One day, she tells him about her husband. She says, "In front of the world, he was very. In private, he would beat me under the influence of alcohol and was very cruel. I complained to the police several times, but no one believed me, and the police found no evidence because he would hit me in a way that left no marks on my body. One night, he threatened me with a knife, so in self-defense, I stabbed him, which led to his death. After hearing everything, Joy says, "Whether anyone believes you or not, I do, because Joy had started to like her." Now she orders many books from Joy to learn about ghosts and spirits. Those books. She comes to the realization that the initial step is to eliminate the spirit's possessions from the residence where it dwelled. Subsequently, she must sprinkle consecrated water, pure water, throughout the entire house and instruct the spirit over the phone to depart. Mani contemplates undertaking all these actions, but she had previously discarded her husband's belongings into the basement. Now, she is confronted with the challenge of retrieving her husband's items from the basement within a mere 3 minutes, as beyond that, the tracking device affixed to her leg would commence beeping. She proceeds to undertake precisely that. She quickly gathered all the belongings and was bringing them upstairs when her husband's spirit grabbed her foot and threw her away. However, she still managed to bring the belongings upstairs, and just then, hearing the noise from her house, Shank came inside, who always kept an eye on her house from outside. Ogana Indan Naino. Upon observing the bruises on her face and the blood trickling from her nose, he concludes that she could not possibly have been the one to murder her husband. There must be another perpetrator who is now attempting to kill her as well. He urges her to confide in him, assuring her that he will assist her and keep her secret. When she confesses that her husband's spirit is haunting and attempting to kill her within this house, he responds by saying she must be delusional, as such a phenomenon could never occur. "Oh goddess," she replies that she knew no one would believe her. Consequently, she resolves that whatever action she must take, she must undertake them alone. She gathers all of her husband's possessions and hurls them into the garden. Just as she is on the verge of tossing her wedding band into the horn's opening, her husband's spirit seizes her hand and attempts to drag her into the drain to cause her harm. She succeeds in rescuing herself. The bloodstain, which she had previously erased, emerges once again. Observing it, she realizes that there must still be something of her husband's remaining in this house. She begins searching frantically but discovers nothing. In her frenzy, she repeatedly bangs her head against the floor, and at that precise moment, the ground would Pani spaghetti come loose. She was quite astonished after watching the film. Now, she carefully removes the remaining tiles, beneath which she discovers a bag filled with money. Upon seeing it, she remarks, "So this was the possession that my husband still had within this house." Gazing at the money, she contemplates what she ought to do with it. After considerable thought, she resolves to donate it to the church. She contacts the father and hands over the money, also requesting him to conduct a ritual to expel whatever presence is in the house. However, the father declines to do so, because they also realized that there was an immensely powerful spirit reigning here which they could not control. Anyway, after they departed, Mani performed all the necessary rituals herself and instructed her husband's spirit to leave, but expelling it was not an easy task. It persisted in tormenting Mani, pulling her by the hair and dragging her to the door, hitting her head against the wall. Then her mother asked the spirit, "What do you desire?" The spirit inscribed EU on the wall with its own blood, implying that it wanted Mani. Her husband's spirit was seeking revenge for his untimely death. She attempts to flee from that place, but her husband's spirit does not permit it. It had securely closed all the windows and doors of the home. It even levitated all the furniture within the house and assaulted her with it. The spirit even attempted to end her life using damp objects, yet her husband's spirit refrained from taking her life. The whole house was in utter chaos. Mani found herself alone and terrified. To occupy herself, she decides to call Joy. After some time, he becomes quite animated and enthusiastic. He expresses his desire to visit Mani's house and arrives soon after. They spend the entire night together. When morning arrives, Mani feels extremely joyful. Her husband's spirit, however, was now enraged. It seizes Joy and forcefully slams him against the wall. That spirit. It struck him with such force that blood began to flow from his nose and mouth. The spirit also fractured his arms and legs. Joy experiences a very horrific death. Everything was unfolding right before her eyes, yet she was powerless to intervene because when she attempted to rescue Joy, her husband's spirit hurled her away as well. Her brother's body was in front of her, and she could now see her husband's spirit, which made her hands and feet tremble with fear. She was very frightened. The first thing she did was go to the bathroom to clean herself up as best as she could, when there was a knock on the door because she had seen Joy arriving last night. He was now asking to open the Manikoti Vasa. Seeing him, she was extremely scared and wondered what to do next. Outside, Fani meted an insight or fight was hide Joy's body because she knew Sheng wouldn't believe her that Joy, her husband's spirit, killed him. She hides Joy's body under the tiles, cleans the phone and puts it inside too. The patient arrived. Aini wanted to distract him with chat and send him away quickly because Shane stood directly under the ceiling where she'd hidden the body above. The body could fall on him anytime. I'd Saki what happens when Joy's body falls on Shane, and now it seemed to him that Mani had killed Joy too, just as she had killed her husband. He gets arrested for this very reason. Komani doesn't say anything in her defense to Shing because she also wanted to go to this prison. Now, when Shing was taking her away, he saw Marnie's husband's spirit lift him and throw him down forcefully. Shing realized that the same thing was happening to him. The spirit flung him away too. It was the first time he had seen Marnie's husband's spirit in front of him. Right, even when he tried to stop the spirit, he couldn't withstand its power. The spirit set the whole house on fire. The spirit threw Marnie and Shing. She throws him into the basement. Due to the injuries, Shane had lost consciousness. Marnie tries to revive him, but is unable to. The fire had already spread throughout the house. The basement door also gets shut. Marnie first retrieves the key from Shane's pocket to unlock her device and then frees her hands from the handcuffs. She runs towards the ventilation, opens it, and escapes outside. Then she goes back to rescue Shane and brings him out. However, as she is leaving, her husband's spirit grabs her again from behind. She intended to incinerate me. At that precise moment, Marnie struck him with her wedding band and declared, "It is over now. Everything is concluded. Release me." Only then did her husband's spirit abandon her. It vanished eternally. The final thing was that ring. Marnie successfully escaped. Her residence was reduced to ashes. Now Shank, having comprehended the entire truth, instructed Marnie to flee from there. "I shall manage everything," he assured. Marnie did precisely that. She departed from there. White steed, she left it behind. Now, she had to live with a new name and identity. The next day, the newspaper reported a fire at Marnie's house, claiming she had died in it. Now, no police were after Marnie, and there was no case. She was free and started her new life. And with this, the film story ends here.